Rev it up and welcome to Cars Yeah, show number 2198. Be prepared to be inspired.
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Hello, inspiring automotive enthusiasts, and welcome to Cars Yeah. Today I'm in beautiful Nashville, Tennessee with a very special guest by the name of Brock Patterson. Brock, welcome to Cars Yeah. Do you have it in gear, and are you ready to release the clutch?
Man, let's do this, Mark. I'm excited.
All right, we're going to have some fun because what your job is all about is, I think you're like a provider of dreams, an inventor of fun. So that's kind of a good preset for what we're going to talk about today. But before I introduce you, and we dive into your life, what's one little thing that maybe people don't know about Brock?
So one of the things that you may not know, and I think what differentiates me in this industry, so I've got a master's degree from Middle Tennessee State University, and I was a college professor for a few years in the entrepreneurship department back in the kind of 2012, 13, 14, 15 time. It was an incredible experience. It was one of those bucket list, right place, right time moments, had the right kind of connections and mentors. And so I got to check off something that I never thought I was able to do, but I was a college professor. It was an absolute blast.
Very cool. I love it. Well, especially in entrepreneurship, even better, because that's a great thing to teach young minds about, that you can go out and do whatever you want. But there's a methodology to this so that you'll be successful and you won't fall on your face. Well, let me give you a proper introduction. Brock is the National Specialty Vehicle Manager at Reddick Brown Ford in Morrison, Tennessee, where they specialize in a line of custom vehicles and limited production projects. This includes offerings from companies including Shelby American, Tuscany Motor Company, Roush Performance, Hennessy Performance, SCA Performance, Rocky Ridge, and Ford Performance. This isn't your normal Ford dealership, I can tell. Brock, Jack Roush Award winner, started in the automotive industry in 2015 as a director of marketing and one of the largest Ford dealerships in Tennessee. He's negotiated contracts with national and global brands for exclusive custom vehicle build projects, and his clients range from business professional to C-suite members, professional athletes, musicians, actors, and many other automotive enthusiasts. We'll be back in just a moment, but first a word from our sponsors. So give them a little love. They keep the very expensive fuel in the tanks here, and we'll be right back.
Cool.
Autumn has arrived. The weather's changing, and that means your vehicles need extra protection against everything Mother Nature can drop. Covercraft offers you a multitude of layers of protection for your special rides. Are you putting your summer toys away? Watercraft, RV, motorcycles, trailers, or even your patio furniture? Covercraft has a custom fit cover for whatever your need. Covercraft offers you 10 different car cover options. That's right, 10 for your special vehicle's protection, whether stored inside or out. All carefully crafted into the form and fit with the quality and attention to detail that's been their standard since 1965. And don't forget their custom fit seat covers, pet pad. Fido's going to get wet and muddy, I guarantee it. Dash mats, sunscreens, and custom fit floor mats and trunk mats. Whatever the surface you want to protect, Covercraft has your solution. If you use the code YEAH21 at covercraft.com, you'll get 10% off your Covercraft order. That's right, 10% off. Simply use the code YEAH21 at checkout. Come on, Mother Nature, bring it on. Covercraft, protecting the things that move you. I was tired of my rates for my collector car insurance going up every year for no explainable reason. My carrier seemed to be turning into a media company versus an insurance company, and I realized that a portion of my policy premium was paying for all those so-called free media goodies. So I did my homework, I talked to knowledgeable collectors, shopped around, and discovered American Collectors Insurance. They've been serving the collector car hobby since 1976. You last that long by properly serving your customers' insurance need, not with a lot of fluff. ACI is ranked the #1 online collector car insurance provider according to Google, Trustpilot, Facebook, and they offer their real person guarantee live support. No never-ending phone loops when you need help. Plus, because you don't use your classic car as a daily driver, you could save up to 40% compared to regular auto insurance. American Collectors Insurance provides agreed value policies. So if you experience a total loss to your collector vehicle or it's stolen, you'll be paid the amount listed on your declaration page, less any deductibles, of course. No ifs, ands, or buts. Give them a call today and ask for your free quote at 866-ACI-YEAH. That's 866-224-9324. Tell them you're a friend of mine, Mark Greens at Cars Yeah. American Collectors Insurance. Classic car insurance designed by collectors for collectors. Fall is here, and you know what that means. Time to put a good coat of protection on your vehicle. I'm teamed up with Auto Geek, and they've been the leading source of auto detailing products, accessories, and expert knowledge for more than 20 years. What started back in 1997 as a small mail-order catalog company grew into a multi-website based e-commerce store, and that's what they are today. With a large online presence on its own website featuring close to 100 different brands, AutoGeek has grown to be the largest car care retailer in the country. AutoGeek's wholesale program serves accounts in over 30 countries, and its retail sector ships worldwide. If you want to protect your vehicle this fall, and you should, go to autogeek.net for the best product selection on the internet today and technical support. Autogeek.net is where I go for my detailing needs. That's autogeek.net. So, Brock, we are back. So I want to talk about what you guys are doing there, because when I was reached out to have you as a guest on the show, I went, well, he works at a Ford dealership, but that's great. I have lots of people who've been at dealerships, managers, salespeople, owners, but this one's a little bit different, what you guys do there at Reddick Brown Ford. I mean, you create dreams for people that are maniacs or crazy. And that list of brands you work with, oh my gosh. I mean, I've had some people from these companies on the show. So what's the deal there at your company? What are you guys doing and why?
Well, so, the as they say, the riches are in the niches. And so it's our model. We're a performance-based Ford dealership. And so we do a lot of performance, high horsepower, custom build trucks. We have a lot of partners that we're able to retail with. You just listed all those, Roush Performance, Hennessy, Shelby, Tuscany, and the like. So they're incredible companies. They do a lot of great builds. What we found is that there is a, urging for people they want these high performance vehicles. And as we move further and further towards the agenda for electric, they want these ICE vehicles supercharged, fast, and we know what they want ahead of time. And so we're able to build, spec out, and offer an experience so great they forget they're actually shopping at a car dealership. Our goal is to really recreate that first time somebody got behind the wheel when they were, 13, 14, 15, and they were on that maiden voyage driving a car. We're going to recreate that for people as adults in these high performance limited production vehicles.
Now, do these brands typically sell their vehicles through dealerships like you? Because I've always thought of specialty brands, and I'll pick, since I'm a Porsche guy, Roof. That you go directly to them in Germany and order cars through them. But these brands that you work with, which I've had some of them on the show, my understanding is you can go to them, or is it exclusively through dealers like yours?
Yeah, so some of the companies, like for instance, you can go to Shelby American with your Mustang and have a build done, even previous model year. So you can actually go out to Las Vegas and build your dream Super Snake car. Hennessy Performance also has the ability to do retail orders for clients that have, a Raptor, an F-150, a Mustang, even into the, Camaro line. So those two companies do, but for the most part, they supply the chassis. In a lot of cases, we actually supply the chassis too. They build the conversion, they ship it straight to us. So some of the companies are set up for retail orders. For you and I, if we owned a vehicle to send, and then some of them actually flow through the car dealership. In our case, we get the inventory and sell it as a one completed build.
Okay.
Yeah.
We all know about supply chain issues. I don't even want to almost say those words to you because I'm sure it's been a huge headache for your dealership and all the dealerships across the country. But do these kinds of bills, are they affected by that, or have they been affected by that? Or is this a whole nother world that we're dealing with?
No, last year, I think I went 6 months without any inventory on the performance side. 2020 hit. I don't think we started to see lower inventory levels until some point last year. Dealers were stocked up through the end of 2020. So 2021 was pretty tough for me and for the dealership on the performance specialty side. It wasn't until July that we started to see any type of increase in inventory. A lot of it's supply chain related, some of it tuning, new updates, refresh on a body, a particular model. So that, it was a perfect storm for delays on our end. But, the good thing is that, we're well communicated with by our partners to know what's happening. We try to communicate to our customers. I feel bad saying, I don't know the answer. That's such an aggravating response. And I know customers are tired of hearing it. I am. I don't like hearing that.
Yep.
But I just told somebody last night on a Bronco order, any idea when it's going to get pulled? I said, man, I have no clue, and so that's tough and frustrating. I think, especially in this segment of buyers, a lot of these people want it now.
Of course.
They want it. They want it immediately. Right. So you have to manage that expectation going into it. We try to do a good job of being honest and transparent about what's going to happen. I'm not going to overpromise a build that's going to happen any sooner than others. But yeah, we've been affected by the supply chain, and we just you really just have to be urgent, once you do get the inventory, to make sure that you have a pretty good stick rate of somebody that's reserved a product ahead of time.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it just seems to be never ending. Have you seen, or are you getting a sense right now that things will be improving? Because on top of what we've been through, now we've got interest rate issues. Now, most of the people I assume buying these kind of vehicles are probably paying cash, so they're not financing, so that doesn't really affect them at all. However, in your general dealership, these increased interest rates are like, we're just getting out of this catastrophe and now this happens. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's just a warpy world in the automotive sector, isn't it?
It is. And you've seen in the last 90 days a little bit of caution from buyers' perspective, even on the high horsepower performance, higher retail MSRP. They're more conscious with their dollar today. Maybe that decision used to, take them, a week to make. Now it may take 2 or 3 weeks to make the decision to purchase. So we are across the industry nationwide. We're seeing a little bit of a slowdown on that. But I think as we continue to get new product that's arriving in, I think that's going to help the market, improve just a little bit. The used car market is certainly, as taking a up and down swing there.
Yeah.
And I think if you were trying to get out of a car and you think that you're holding on to some gold, I think you're 6 months too late to that party in terms of seeing high value. So the reality is the used prices are starting to adjust to be a little bit more normal. And as that happens, you'll see some of the dealers that were selling over MSRP, those prices will start to come down on new vehicles. We did not ever sell over MSRP.
Yay. I'm proud of you. I see that, not that I'm out buying new cars all the time, but I see that and it just feels bad. It's like during Monterey Car Week when Motel 6 triples their rates, and just because they can, and you just feel like you've been used a little bit. It's kind of like buying any car. If you don't feel good about walking out or driving out the door and you go, God, I think I overpaid, but I really don't know. It takes the fun, and cars should be fun, especially these kind of vehicles, these specialty vehicles.
For sure. Yeah. And you're right. There is, kind of that supply demand law in effect that you did see, and honestly, house prices were, homes were worth way more than they probably should be.
Yes.
I know a few homes in my neighborhood that are now listed that normally would have been sold quickly, have been on the market 30 and 45 days. And so the price, if you paid higher before, that was the market value. So, I understand, and dealers, obviously you've got, your either your ownership and you've got your employees to take care of. So I get why people do that. We just took a hard, fast rule. We never did it before. And, we're not going to do it now. And I think that whether people remember that or not, I don't know. It's tough to say whether people are going to remember who marked them up in 6 months, a year, 2 years. But some people may feel it when they go try to trade in the next 6 months and realize that,
my car's not worth what I thought it was.
Right.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's a weird, wacky world. Now, you deal with a lot of professional athletes as well. So
I do.
Is that group of buyer different than your typical automotive high-end performance enthusiast? Because those of us like you and I who have been car fanatics our whole lives, we're kind of a unique breed. But when you get an athlete who's maybe just come into a lot of money in the first time of their lives, and they want to go out and buy something really cool, is there something different working with them? Is it a little bit more unique, or other than they want it today, they want it now because they've got cash in their hand?
Yeah, so they are, the professional athlete is a little unique. And I think one of the things that helps me with that professional athlete is, number one, who I am, what I represent, my demographic of who I am, and how I promote my personal brand online. I've got a pretty big Instagram following. Online. A lot of athletes find me through Instagram and reach out. To me, it's just, give them a good service because number one, you hear the horror stories of athletes who get their money taken from them and then maybe they're broke later on down the road. I try to be, again, honest, transparent, good experience for them. I make it easy. I just dealt with a pretty high profile athlete. And, we've exchanged text messages, they're real. If you do the right thing for them, if you respond to them, answer their questions, reassure their buying decision, make it an easy process, then, man, my name is shared across locker rooms all over the country just because of the experience. Now, it doesn't hurt that we got some pretty kick-ass cars and trucks here too,
exactly.
So they know who we are because of our Reddick Brown Ford brand. My son Braxton, he just actually turned 21. He's our marketing manager.
Oh, wow.
He manages all of our Instagram, TikTok. We have a YouTube channel, so everything we do a lot digitally. And my goal is to promote to attract buyers like you described, my target market. So that is what we try to attract, and we do a real good job of getting them in and creating a good experience for those professional athletes. And they're a lot of fun too. They're a blast to deal with.
Yeah, well, it must be a very proud dad to have your son there working with you and promoting the brand and so forth. Is your dealership rather unique in this kind of offering? Because I think about the dealerships around where I live. I don't think I know of any that do the kind of things like you're doing with these high performance builds.
There's dealers like this all over the country. There's a dealer 90 minutes away from us that does the same thing that we do. We just happen to embrace who we are, that we are unique. And again, I think too many people, Good to Great, the book.
Oh yeah, Jim Collins' book
about all of these blue ocean strategies. We know that we can dominate through digital. We know that we can. Are there better videographers than Braxton? 100%. Are there better SEO, SEM? 100%. Are there guys that are better looking than I am and younger and have more product knowledge? 100%.
Yeah.
The one thing they don't have is the ability to get up day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, and do this every day. That's what makes us different than everybody else, is that we're willing to on days that you don't feel like getting up, on day like today. I hired a trainer a couple of months ago. I have in the last 2 years lost 140 pounds.
Oh my gosh. Congratulations. That's awesome.
And so I hired this trainer, and today I'm sore. I'm absolutely sore. I didn't want to drive in. I've got about an hour and 10-minute drive to the office. I do have the luxury some days that I can, work remotely. If I don't have the inventory in, I can, book all my deals. But you just got to come in and do everything that you need to do day after day. And that's what makes us unique, is that we're willing to put in the time and the investment, and you may not see the return in 30 days. You may not see the return in 90 days, but eventually, if you do it long enough, you're going to see the return.
Tenacity, bulldoggedness, all those kinds of things, that stick-to-itiveness and so forth. Well, that's tremendous. And congratulations on the weight loss.
Thank you.
That is not easy, but man, yeah, as you know, it's well worth it, how you feel about yourself and everything. So that's quite excellent. Do you think that your teaching, when you're teaching entrepreneurship, helped you a bit in what you're doing? Or are you just, I kind of sense you're probably just a wired guy that you are used to working hard?
Yeah. So here's the thing. I'm a lifelong learner. I think that's one thing that also makes me unique. I read about a book every week. Wow. I've done that since around 2000, maybe 1999. So I've got a vast library. I'm constantly learning. I mean, you wouldn't know. The number of times I've used a dictionary or Google to look up a word that I didn't understand what it meant. I was like, I've never seen it in that context. So I'm constantly learning. I'm very humble. I understand what my blind spots are, my weaknesses. And so I'm able to take feedback constructively and use that to grow. I'm very connected in that I seek out relationships with people that can make me better, that I can help get better. So I think the entrepreneurship and the teaching side allowed me to teach other people. I think it just helps the teacher get better, right? You're making the student better, but if you got to prepare to help somebody get better, then you're going to get better in the process. And then as a result, yes, I do think some of it is just being hardwired with, I got a little bit of chip on my shoulder. I went from D's to degrees, the class clown to a college professor. I still haven't shown what I've got left to showcase. So there's some of that underdog mentality that I have that allows me to be different.
Well, bravo. You dropped a lot of golden nuggets on us right there in that little segment, which is tremendous. One of the things that and you've alluded to this, surrounding yourself with better, stronger people is how we get better. Mom was right. Pick your friends wisely, right? There's a reason our moms told us that. Do you have a driving impression, some type of a mentor or someone who's really been influential in your life that's helped you?
Oh, yeah. And I didn't realize really what my dad represented. I don't think I appreciated him until I got older. It's kind of one of those things. He was blue collar. He worked at Bridgestone. He had crazy shifts, like this mad dog shift where you work early one day and late the next. He was constantly working, but I'm going to tell you what, he sacrificed and provided for my family. He always told me this. He said, shoulders back, right? Chest out, head high. And I didn't, and I practiced it. I practiced it over and over again. I didn't really understand what it meant. And I think as an adult now, I realized that, what he was trying to say is you're going to have terrible days. You're going to feel like you're in quicksand. You're going to feel like the world's against you. But if you have your shoulders back and your chest out and your head high, you're going to be more confident. And it stuck with me. I had another friend of mine, Taylor Loyal, who is just an incredible guy. And he challenged me. This has probably been 7 or 8 years ago. I had this habit of I quickly master things. And I want to move on to the next project. I don't want to get stale. I want to move on. And he said, I challenge you, stick to this for 5 years. He said, keep your head down and don't look up. Now, for me, Mark, that is very, very hard to do because I'm going to get bored quickly. Well, I've kept my head down. I'm going on year 7 or 8 now. And it's made things easier, but more challenging. I've been more focused. I've become a better subject matter expert. And then I'm now able to take parts of my career and grow and expand in areas that I want to do other things on. So my dad giving me that advice early and Taylor challenging me about 7 or 8 years ago has really helped me to kind of grow and become a better person.
Your comment about shoulders back, head up. Have you read Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
I think that was his first one. That was the first rule of the 12, if I remember right. My son gave me that book. And, if you read that, the first chapter about lobsters, you're like, what is this all about? What? But then he explains it and he goes on with it. But yeah, I love that. Yeah. What a great thing to have a father like that. We'll take a short break. Thank our sponsors. We come back. I want to talk about challenges because no doubt a guy like you has met up against a few of those. So we'll be right back. Keep your seatbelts on.
All right, cool.
You've heard me talk about Linkage Magazine here on Cars Yeah for a couple of years now. Well, they're growing. And in 2023, they're going to grow from 4 issues a year to 6. And there's an opportunity here for you to take advantage of this growth. If you go to linkagemag.com and click on the Renew button, if you already subscribe, you can get a great deal. Use the code RENEW6 for 1 year and you'll get 6 issues for the price of 4, or type in Renew 12 for 2 years, where you also have a great savings. Plus, they'll even throw in a free Linkage hat. How cool is that? The publisher of Linkage is Donald Osborne. He's been a guest multiple times here on Cars Yeah. He's become a good friend of mine, and I'll tell you, Linkage Magazine is one of those newer magazines that you're going to want to get. It's all about experiences, opinions, and values. It's a wonderful publication, something I look forward to getting. And now that I'm going to be getting 6 a year, even more special. So go to linkagemag.com. Again, use the code RENEW6 or RENEW12 to get that special deal. Do it before December 31st, 2022, so that in 2023, you'll get 6 issues of Linkage Magazine instead of 4. How did you discover your path to a fulfilling life? Too many young people flounder in finding an education and a career that fits. But for those who have a passion for cars, trucks, and motorcycles, and who love working with their hands, problem solving, and fixing things, a career as a professional auto technician is incredibly rewarding. Cars Yeah is pleased to team up with TechForce Foundation, our charity of choice, in bringing scholarships, technical education, and hands-on experience to young people so they can discover a possible future. Join me and lend your support by visiting techforce.org today. So challenges, I love this question because it's really more about the outcome, what you learned from it. So share a big challenge, maybe even a big failure, something that happened along the way. But looking back now, you went, man, I'm glad I went through that. It may have been tough at the time, but I learned an awful lot.
One of the things I think that a lot of people have a hard time dealing with is that there is no skip to the next part. You have to go through things. And so I've kind of embraced that you have to go through it. I started out going to college just like everybody else, did back in the early 90s. You were told to graduate high school, go to college. I was irresponsible, immature, ridiculous. I was Animal House. It was ridiculous. And so I started college. I didn't finish. All my friends started graduating, making money. Yeah, I realized it was time to get a job. After 17 years, I went back to college and finished my undergraduate degree.
Wow.
Now, keep in mind, I was a D student. I was on the dean's list 4 straight semesters. I was inducted into 3 National Honor Societies. As soon as I got done, I finished my master's program and ultimately became a professor at Middle Tennessee State University. Now, here's what I learned. I felt like a failure the whole time leading up to that. There were things that I was doing that I was getting better in my career, but I had that degree kind of looming over my head, and it works for some people. It doesn't work for others. But for me, I set out to accomplish something and I failed. So I just committed to it. And once I think you commit to something, you have to commit first, right? In your mind. Your mind has to say, I'm going to do this. If you don't commit to it, you're not going to do it, right? You and I both know that, Mark. I committed to, I'm going to go and I'm going to finish my degree, right? I had no idea I was going to finish a master's, program, but I committed to it. And what I learned is that if I stay with something, again, Taylor Loyal was way far advanced in his comment to me. If I stick to something long enough and you can go through it, not skip to the next part, then you can accomplish just about anything you set out to do. Same thing with my weight loss journey. It was once I committed, I woke up and said, either you change or just stay the same. Well, I wasn't going to stay the same. So I committed to it. So I think both the weight loss journey and going back to college kind of taught me that once you set your mind to something and you remove all your distractions, there's going to be haters along the way. There's going to be people telling you don't do this or you can't do that. Block them out and really focus on what you want to do. And you would be, people don't talk about the degree part. I don't ever bring it up. It's actually, both of them are in my office, but it's a sense of pride and accomplishment that I feel every single time I look at those. For me, I did it for me. And I think if more people did things for themselves and not other people, golly, imagine what you'd accomplish.
So that click point, that moment where you make that decision to do it, Is there something that you might, I mean, there may be people listening, I'm sure there are right now that go, well, yeah, I want to, but I can't. Or they put things in their way. They sometimes make up imaginary obstacles, well, I'll start tomorrow. It's always the tomorrow or the procrastinator. What could you maybe offer a listener out there that struggles with that to get to that, what I call a click point, to flip the switch? Okay, the lights are on now. I'm committed. Do you say, is it a goal setting process in your mind, written? What is it?
So and this is it's funny, one of the projects I'm working on, it's called the Resurgence Zone. And it's stories of comeback stories and how I've kind of gone through, I shouldn't be where I'm at today, Mark. I really shouldn't. But time obviously is on our side. We can mature and grow. But the Resurgence Zone is something I created a couple of years ago. And the first step you have to go through is called the Ignite phase, right? And so if you want to launch anything, right, you have to ignite it. And the Ignite phase is simply, you're looking around for inspiration. You're looking at books. You're looking at mentors. You're reading passages. You're doing some introspective thought. You're talking to people. You're kind of going through this Ignite phase where you got to get off the ground. Now, a lot of people stay in the Ignite phase because the paralysis by analysis, they overthink things. It's got to start on Monday. I'm going to start my diet on Monday. Well, if you don't start on Monday, well, I'm going to start on a month that is the first day of the month starts on a Monday. So then you wait till September.
And I'm going to start next year.
Yeah. So a lot of people get stuck in that Ignite phase where once you've done the homework, once you've realized what your goal is, once you realize what you want to do, and you've had enough, people and or passages that are giving you some information to start that journey, you gotta then launch, right? And launching, 80% of the fuel on the space shuttle is used to get it off the ground.
Yes.
80% of what you're going to do is just going to get you to start whatever it is you start. And once you realize that it's going to take all of your energy in the beginning just to get going and realize, hey, it's going to be hard. I think that's that Ignite phase and that launch phase of doing anything. And then you just recreate that. So if you want to start something new, go back to the Ignite section, right? You figure out, do some homework, do some reading, meet with mentors, interview people, do those things, ignite, and then eventually you got to get to that launch phase where it's small actions day after day after day.
It's tremendous. And it goes back to Jordan Peterson's, his number 2 is treating yourself, like you are responsible for helping someone else.
Yes.
It's reimagining in your mind that you are important enough to do this for. And I think a lot of people, they don't think of themselves that way. And when you think of yourself that way, well, I'm helping someone else. Most of us like to help other people.
Yes.
I mean, that's the secret sauce to life. So if you treat yourself like that, you can get through that Ignite phase and get into the next phase when you're going into orbit and doing things. So, wow, wonderful inspiration you are.
Yeah.
I had no idea our talk would go in this direction. I'm so glad that it did. But let's get back to cars. I want to talk about a special vehicle in your life. One car that really stands out for you, and maybe a story about that ride.
Oh, yes. So I always wanted, growing up, I wanted a Ford Bronco, and I couldn't afford it. Parents weren't going to buy it for me. I didn't make any money to purchase one. I even looked at the Bronco 2s back in the day and thought maybe I could buy one of those with cash if I save up. So I never did buy that Bronco. So obviously the long anticipated re-release of the Ford Bronco came out. I placed an order. I had a build. It was blue in nature. It was a 2021 Ford Bronco. Beautiful. I put 37-inch tires on it. It was absolutely gorgeous. And we had a snow day. Actually, this January, we had a huge snow in Middle Tennessee. It doesn't snow a lot here. So my son and my daughter and I took off. Oh, my gosh. The scenery was gorgeous. Getting this, and I'm not an off-road guy, but I pretended like I was. It was surreal. We got some incredible pictures. We watched people do donuts, and I was able to get out in this Bronco that I'd always wanted for 20-something years or more, and just enjoy it. It was a kind of a bucket list thing and a proud moment that I got to spend with both of my kids. Oh, it was unreal.
I was so afraid this story was going somewhere else with that unexpected rare snowstorm, and the car ended up wrecked or something. So I'm so happy we didn't go there. Yeah, that new Ford Bronco is pretty cool. I had a couple past guests who are well known. Tom Cotter, who's written all the Barn Find books, and Michael Allen Ross, photographer. They stopped here at our house on their tour from Key West to Dead Horse, Alaska.
Oh, cool.
Ford loaned them a new Ford Bronco. They had a beautiful trailer in the back, and they were traveling across country, back roads, meeting people, and as part of writing this book. And they pulled it up in the driveway. We offered to let them spend the night and shower up, and made them a dinner and so forth. But now I'm going to have everybody calling, "Hey, Mark, I'm coming through town. Can I have dinner at your house and spend the night?" So that was fun. But I had not seen one up close and personal, and they're really cool. Even my daughter's got an interest in them. She's not really a car gal, so that's kind of fun. So I'm going to be your car psychologist here. This should be fun. I'm going to crawl into your skull a little bit here. If you were reincarnated, manifest as a vehicle, what would you be and why?
Oh, man. So I would go, here's where I'm going to go. I'll tell you why. 1993 Ford Mustang convertible.
Okay.
Right? Fox body. It's the year I graduated high school. I love that body style. It's a little bit bigger, bulkier frame, kind of like myself, so it's got some.
Not anymore.
What's that? Not
anymore.
Not anymore. Yeah. And so it's a little bit bulkier car, but it's now a collectible. It's a lot of people, it's highly sought after, and I kind of, it's kind of symbolic to my life a little bit that, here it is, this 1993 car. 20, 30 years later is something people are looking after, kind of symbolic to my life. And if I had a buddy that drove a Mustang convertible, candy apple red, in high school with a white top, and I was so jealous of that car. I wanted it so bad. But I think that would be the car I would be reincarnated in.
I like it. Very, very cool, especially the tie-in to graduation year and so forth.
Yeah.
I think that's why those Fox bodies are finally coming around, because, again, we've got these millennials born in the 80s, 90s, or they were teenagers then, junior high, and they really thought those were cool, and now they can go out and buy one. So that new generation of car buyers, collectible car buyers, is coming through.
Yeah.
I had a 66 Fastback that for a while, that was my daily driver, that was built into a GT350 Shelby clone. And it was it was so fun. I couldn't get gas in that car without half-hour talks with people. Everybody has a Mustang story, because the Mustang to me is like a little bit Camaro, but like the Porsche 911. It's just been around for so long, and there's so many generations of stories and passion and fun with those cars that they just kind of keep living on. So I'm glad they're still with us, new things coming out and so forth. So I still can't figure out, maybe you can tell me, why did Ford name that EV a Mustang? What the heck was that all about?
I can only infer that eventually they'll drop the Mustang name and just call it a Mach-E.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, I kind of scratched my head.
That's my guess. That's my marketing hat. I think, you introduce it, you kind of show it, and then you drop the Mustang part and just call it the Mach-E.
Well, I think they need to do that. So give them a call, would you?
Yeah.
That one made me scratch my head as a longtime marketer.
As a lot of people.
Yeah, I'll bet. Trying to explain that one. Now, as far as great reading, you mentioned you love books. We love books here. I love books. There have been many recommendations. In fact, on my website, there's a place called Guest Recommended Books, where there's over 2,500 books recommended by my past guests. Is there one that you could share that you really found valuable?
Yeah, I'm not going to give you one of the traditional books. I guess I'm a little unorthodox. I'm not, I'm not going to give you what I would typically give as a standard answer. So the book Green Lights, Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, fairly new book.
I don't know if you've read that or not, or heard
not.
about that book. It is unreal. His story, you can hear him talking in that book.
He's
telling
got that
stories
great voice.
About his brother and his dad and his upbringing, and those green light moments. You kind of start to think about your life and whether you have these red light moments or green light moments, and you can apply. It's a very cool book, a good story about him. If you like him at all, I'd recommend that book for sure.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't think, now it's getting harder and harder with almost 2,200 guests here to remember every book recommended, but I don't think so. But I've read some about that and watched some interviews about that book and thought, Okay. Well, I wonder, being a celebrity sometimes, are really that insightful? But he has something about him and his swagger
Yes.
that is just kind of like very confident, seems genuine. We only know him from, movie stuff, and it's hard to judge people, but I'm happy to hear that. So I'll make sure I put a link to that and get myself a copy of that book and enjoy it. Sounds like a good one. So thanks for sharing that. So let's go on the ultimate drive here today. I'm going to buy you anything in the world to drive. You can take it anywhere, and you can take anybody with you, even somebody from the past who's no longer with us, that opens up the world to all sorts of unique and crazy opportunities. I had one guest that actually wanted to take God with them on this journey.
There you go.
Okay, that's kind of wild. Yeah, cool. So what does the ultimate drive look like for you?
Oh, man. So I think here's what I would do. I sell a lot of Shelby F-150 trucks here out of our store. There's an off-road version, a lowered four-door, a lowered two-door. They do a Shelby F-250. They do a Shelby Raptor. I mean, so and they have been really good for us. They've been good for our family. We named our dog, our puppy, Shelby, Maltese. Cool. So her name is Shelby. She's about a year old. I don't care the year either, right? I'm not going to be picky. Ford GT.
Okay.
In Monterey, Pebble Beach, and I want Carroll Shelby on that drive.
All right.
And I just want to listen. I want him to drive and tell me stories, and I want to sit back and I want to listen. I want a notepad, and I just want to hear the stories and see what he would think about, the past, the current, the future of automotive, about the Shelby brand, and just drive through Monterey, Pebble Beach in a cool kick-ass Ford GT. Don't care what it is.
It's so funny. I was just looking at some old photos of the Quail, which is part of the Monterey Car Week that I've attended. Some pictures that I took of Carroll Shelby. That was the second time I ever got to meet him in person, was at that event. He was there as part of a speaker, and I got to go up and say hi. I had met him years ago when I took the glove box off my fastback to Monterey Laguna Seca, and he was there, and I had him sign it for me, for that car.
Nice.
But Preston Lerner has a new book. He was just a guest on my show 2 weeks ago called Shelby American. Have you heard of that book?
Yes.
Yeah. If you haven't read it, you should pick it up and read it, because it's not just about, not a rehash of Shelby. It's about all the people that Shelby surrounded himself with. He was a smart marketer. He wasn't a wrencher. I won't say he wasn't a businessman, but he was very untraditional businessman. But he knew how to surround himself with a very powerful team.
Yes.
And you think of Ken Miles and Peter Brock and all the other people that worked with him that he surrounded himself with. So, what a character. Holy cow. What a life.
Yes.
I mean, just amazing. I think that's pretty darn cool. Well, you've taken us on a very cool ride today, Brock, and I can't thank you enough for spending time with me this morning.
Awesome.
And dropping all the value bombs and the golden nuggets you dropped for us today. Before I let you go, could you share maybe some words of wisdom, inspiration, or some advice for our listeners?
Yeah. So one of the things that I have tried to practice lately is this, so, and it's kind of Matthew McConaughey. It's weird. We're going to bring him back up again. Had a speech, and this is maybe an adaptation. I think we're going to be in three phases of our life, right? We're going to be looking forward. We're going to be looking back. And most importantly, we need to look up. So as we look forward, I hope that our listeners, you and I, we look forward in anticipation of great things and excitement and newness, and we have all those great feelings, right? And we don't have fear and anxiety when we're looking forward. And when we're looking back, I hope that we're looking back with appreciation and gratefulness and thankfulness, and not regret or sorrow. But the most important thing we need to do, and my uncle shared this with me, and he used to drive me nuts telling me I needed to stop and smell the roses. And I don't think he ever meant literally to stop and smell the roses, although one time I was on a walk and I did just that for him. And what it taught me is that we get caught up in the day-to-day and this grind and this hustle culture and all these things, that we need to look up, right? We need to look up from our phones. We need to look up from our computers. We need to look up from what we're doing in our day-to-day life, and just enjoy the time that we've got with our family and our friends, and just live in the moment. So look forward, look back, and look up.
It's awesome. Very well said. I heard this quote which relates to that. If you are depressed, you're living in the past. If you're anxious, you're living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the present. Very
That's
relatable to what you just said.
Very much so.
you're right. Sometimes we need to stop and look
Just
up.
look up.
Right. Yeah. And it'd be a great thing to do that if you're around friends and family versus your face buried in that phone, looking at that next message or that next post or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
We've all been around people that do that. And it's like, hello, I'm right here.
100%.
Can we talk?
I'm still guilty.
Yeah, me too. I try my best when we go out to dinner or dinner time, whatever, is to turn that thing off, put it in another room, put it on silent. It's important. How can people learn more about Reddick Brown Ford?
Yeah, so they can visit us online 24/7 at reddickbrownford.com. They can take a look and find us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook at Reddick Brown Ford. You can find me out there at Brock Patterson all over as well.
Absolutely. Thanks to your mighty son, Braxton?
Braxton, that's right.
Your mighty son, Braxton, and all the good things that he does there. So maybe we need to get him on this show. I want to do a shout out to Jared Holland at Publicity Factory for connecting me with Brock. So Jared, thank you. Another all-star you brought. Yep, brought another all-star here. Brock, thanks for your time today. Thanks for being so generous. Thanks for sharing some wonderful, wonderful sentiments with us. Congratulations to your successes. Until you and I talk again, my friend, I'll see you down the road.
All right. Yeah. Thanks so much for this experience, Mark. It was great. To the listeners, listen, go after your dreams, accomplish everything that you want to get, and remember, look up.
There you go. Look up indeed.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah. Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah.